from the bus, but only for a week. And then after that, my dad said, "You're going to walk or ride your bicycle." So, but anyhow, that was part of it. You enter the Dawes house now is a museum. It smells like it did when I lived there, okay? It's old, old smells, bad smells. You walk in the front door off the porch, you see the living room, family room, the bedroom off to the side. If you go straight through, you go into what was our kitchen. Mom's cook stoves, and right straight back, there's an artificial or partial chimney there, and that's where the cook stove was. On the left side of the cook stove, there was a door. It's not there anymore. I don't know where that door went, but it's an old wooden hard door. I used to ride my bicycle to Ferrix's farm, just down the road, and get milk for $1 a gallon. I mean, glass jug, riding on a bicycle, that's a good game plan. You don't want to drop it, that's for sure. But anyway, that's what we did. So we go down to Ferrix's and get raw milk. Well, I had to go down to Ferrix's and get raw milk one day. And when I come back home, brought the milk in, and as we're going into that closet door area there, I noticed right about this high, there was a .22 caliber pellet from a pellet gun. I had that pellet gun. I'm 73 years old now. I did not shoot that door, but there was a pellet hole in it. So either my brother Leslie or my sister Sharon shot the door. Probably Leslie, because he was a bad kid, all from word go. So, but anyhow, we slept, the 3 kids slept upstairs, okay? I see they opened up the wall and exposed the logs. We actually slept upstairs. I slept on would be the south side of the house. My brother slept on the right, and my sister had the little condenser room down at the end. She was the princess. Thank goodness she's younger. That's why she's a princess. Never mind. So, but anyhow, I have a lot of remembrance of that house. I remember the Cronings and the Gomberts and the Collins and the Wiegans, and we had, Ruthie, you'll smile at this one, I think. We had a snow day at Niagara Wheatfield. Well, we got together and went down to where Wiegand's house was. There was a field between theirs. Billy Kammen's and I think it was Barbie Kammen's house was on the corner. I don't know who was up, the next house up, but anyway, it's a big open field. So we're out there playing football, having a good old time. Well, I had bought one of those Navy sea masks. It's a full face mask, black in color, come down over your shoulders, and a jacket. We're out there playing football. Well, Barb apparently had to use the facility, so she went home, and her mother says, "Who's the black kid you guys are playing football with?" There were not very many Afro-American families, if there was any, in Bergholz. The only ones that I remember were the Hunts, and they were out in the town of Niagara. So, I mean, it's what it is. Our other thing was, we'd go down to the fire hall in that little field. I don't know if it's still there, I think. It's a little fire hall field. And we'd play football down there from 0 dark early in the morning till way, way late at night. And it was just part of the fun and games. It's what you did in Bergholz.
That's right, you didn't have phones.
Beg your pardon?
I just said you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had fun.
And then sometimes we went down and swung on Ruthie's hammock swing in her backyard.
Oh,
Oh, yes. So I'm open to questions. I don't know if I have answers for all of them, but if I don't have an answer, I can make something up pretty quick. Go ahead.
I remember you now.
Yeah.
Okay. Your sister came from, where'd you say?
From Utah. From, let me get it right, Provo, Utah.
Right.
She came in, and we, like I said, we lived there. When my sister got married, I don't remember the year, but anyway, she got married, she was living at that house. And her husband, who she finally married, was a Mormon missionary, that came to Bergholz from Utah.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what that particular religion does. They take the younger men from Utah and they ship them to the east, to us out here. Well, they take our younger men, which my brother joined that group, and they shipped him to Utah. Well, he found a lady in Utah he married. In fact, he found a couple of them, but that's neither here nor there. But anyhow, my sister would sit up on the top stairs because she was trying to get into the size 1 dress, and my leg was a size 1. And she would sit up there and say, "Hungry, Mom, I'm so hungry." But she got married and now she's a great kid. I mean, she's out there in Utah having fun of her life. She had 9 kids of her own, so she was busy. That's what the Mormons do, I guess. They're cold winter nights, you know what I mean?
Was this past summer that you came?
Yes, I think it was just this past summer.
So, it was Ruth, right? Ruth?
No, my sister Sherry? Sherry, yeah.
So Sherry's saying, was it her marriage or her prom night that she had that picture?
I think it was her prom night.
That's what I
She
thought.
actually had the picture.
So she sent me a snapshot of it, and it had a picture of her getting her hair done for prom, and Mrs. Gombert, I think, had just walked in the door with her purse, and she was very official looking going through there. And so we passed that around at one of our board meetings. But
Yep.
she sent that, it was very nice of her.
I'm glad she did it for us.
How old were you when you moved in there?
I was probably in 7th or 8th grade, so 14.
So how many total years were you say you lived in?
Probably 3 years total, because we moved my dad wandered. We wandered a lot. I didn't say. In fact, the year we moved in there, I had gone to Lindenville, Niagara Falls Junior High School, and finally Niagara Wheatfield.
Did you live right in town in Lindenville? Because I know my...
No, I lived on a place called Angling Road. Angling Road, which is actually the extension of Route 63 if you run right straight across at Ridgeway and right straight out.
No, well.
Yeah, and across from the street where we lived was a lane called Brown's Lane. It goes back into Brown's Fruit Farm. And we used to go over there and steal it, borrow his apples. And we'd fish in his
So, you
pond.
talked about the water line. What did you do for water before you dug that line? Just
We pumped the well, we operated the well.
Outside?
Yeah,
Brought
we
it
dug that water line in and had the, so this town come out, put the meter, did all that fancy stuff. And I went to school that morning, I come back that night, and my mother says, and she hands me a bucket, she said, "Would you go get me a bucket of water?" Dear Mom, she says, "You know, you really didn't have to do that, you could have done this." I says, "Who put Niagara Falls in the kitchen?"
Okay. Who did your sister go to the prom with? A Bergholz boy?
I don't know, because my sisters call her and ask her. I don't really remember, I don't know, to be honest.
So did you have toilet facilities in there?
That was another dig and go job. When we moved in, we had the outhouse. After a period of time, they actually put in a chemical toilet, which you put stuff in and then dissolve stuff, and after so often you take it out to the outhouse. Well, then we physically hand dug a line from that back closet that I was telling you about on the left. We dug a line out to a septic tank, or to a tank, which was probably wasn't big around as this table. But anyway, a tank, and that's where stuff went, We had running water to it. We also, in that back room, that wall is shortened right up because there was a bathtub. There was room enough, when you went in the door, the toilet was right there, and there was a bathtub, which standard, whatever 4.5, 5 foot bathtub is. There was a bathtub there that also drained down and went into out there. We weren't there long enough to actually have the system pumped or drained that I know of. I don't remember. But yeah, we hand dug that whole thing in.
While you're talking about that, to the left, like if this is the kitchen,
Yeah,
this is the back, there's a big cement, I don't know, I've been calling it a cistern.
that's exactly what it is. That used to be, that cistern was underneath the back half of the house. And the house was actually, that's why I say, I think the house has been shortened up for one purpose or another, because there was, you go in the back door, which was, as you face the two doors, there's one going into the little storage room and then one going over here. That other door took you out to the outside, but you went through that little 10-foot walk and then out into a 10-foot room. And in that room was where the cistern was. The cistern was there for, you know, if you wanted wash water, I guess. It rained and filled the cistern. So, I mean, go ahead.
What do you do for heat?
What did we do for heat? Rubbed our legs together, like crickets. No. We had, seems like we had a oil-fired furnace in the big front room, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a furnace. It was like a space heater type thing. I mean, probably 3 foot, 4 foot, and you turn it on and light it with a match or whatever, and that was our heat. And that heated the whole house. It was big enough, and being made out of the logs that it's made out of with the chink and whatever else insulation that was in there, heated pretty good. But Dad would yell if we left the upstairs door open because heat goes up, and there wasn't poop upstairs for insulation. We had newspaper. You could lay in bed at night and read the newspaper at night. Yeah. So, but that's what we had for heat. We never had a wood fire burner, a firebox or anything, but we had a little space heater. And I don't remember any propane, because I never remember a propane tank coming, or a propane dealer coming to the house. But I do remember there was a big metal tank off to the side of the house. And it was the oil, probably oil. Yes, sir.
Larry, when you lived there, did you realize that that was a log home?
No, we didn't know. It was all wainscoted all in, and there was no, you know, it was old, but we never knew it was a log home. I never knew it really was a log home. I heard stories until we hooked up this past summer, and they'd opened up the one wall to expose the logs, which is amazing. And then you told me some things about the house being perhaps moved from point A to point B and back around and whatever.
Not the Dawes house.
Not the Dawes house?
That was the other one.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, it was,
Yeah, I don't think they knew it was a log home at first either. Like when my dad owned it,
yeah,
he had it as a antique shop for a while. But then when he started the society and turned it over to be used for a museum, shortly after that it was hit by a car. And then I think that's when they discovered that it was actually a log home. I think
we've had a couple of...
Wait a minute, correction. My sister Lois said my dad knew it was a log home before that.
Oh, he just didn't want to tell anybody. So, we never had any vehicle mishaps, other than my brother and I built a push cart, and we rigged up a steering wheel on it, and if you turned the steering wheel to the left, you went to the right. Well, so you had to be thinking always behind the wheel, because when you turned it left, you went right. When you turned it right, you went left. And then somebody come up with the idea, cross the cables. And I straightened it all out. And you turned left, you went left. But in the meantime, I ran into my dad's car twice with it. He wasn't really happy with that.
Was there anything in the backyard? You mentioned the outhouse and the coop for the rabbits. Anything else in the backyard?
There wasn't anything else in the backyard. The outhouse and the barn that was it. I think we tried planting a garden behind it one time, and we probably grew tomato plants. Nothing, I mean, 5 or 6 a dozen, who knows. I know my tail feathers got rearranged by my mother one time, because my brother and I had BB guns. And like I said, as you enter the kitchen area, what used to be the kitchen area, Mom's sink was right there. Well, my brother and I were sitting underneath the window, and she had hollyhocks, big, tall, beautiful hollyhocks, growing. Did I mention we had BB guns? So my brother and I were And Mother was looking out the window. Well, she saw this beautiful hollyhock.
Oh, just go down.
So she come out, she stood there for a few minutes and looked and saw these hollyhocks tipping over. She come around, oh, she said bad words that a truck driver would blush with today, I'm telling you. She took our BB guns and was quite upset with us. Had a lot, yeah.
Well, this was 1960.
Year in about 1960, squeeze one maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
I graduated from Wheatfield in '64, and at that time I was living on Eric Road with a family called Bergholz, because my parents had bought a house or set up a house in town in Niagara, or wherever it was going to make me go to LaSalle. Well, I was a wrestler and a soccer player and a track runner and different stuff, and I didn't want to go to LaSalle my senior year, so I moved in with the Bergholz. That's where I got my driving lesson. I learned how to drive. Well, I knew how to drive, but I finally got a license that said I could drive in New York State, and we did that.
You know who lived in this house after you guys left?
I have no idea. It was one of those things, we moved on,
Yeah, sure.
and I don't know if there's another family moved in there or not.
But Mrs. Gumbert up there.
Mrs. Gombert owned it when he actually lived there, yes. And,
So how did that transpire? You mentioned about connecting with Rudy Cronin and...
well, see, Rudy Cronin was, I think, the son-in-law of Mrs. Gombert.
Okay.
And he said, well, whatever they said.
Yeah.
That's how we wound up getting that house. And I want to say that I think the rent was horrendous in that house. It's probably $50 a month.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but I just, my dad worked as a manual labor at Spalding Fibers, and he got into the filament winding where they actually made tubes like water pipes and things out of fiberglass, and they would run the twine through resin and then onto mandrels. And he told stories about taking a little one and sliding inside a bigger one and plugging the end of it, and you could squirt water 40 feet with it, like big guys,
What's your memory of Bill Gearing? Because I remember when I was small, very small, we lived on a farm, we had scraps of wood, and we throw it on the back of the pickup, back the pickup up to the front of his shop or whatever, and just give him scrap wood. And I mean, he was kind of a strange person.
One word, yes. He was he had to be 105 years old when I knew him. He was quite elderly, and you never saw him out, but if he came out, he was yelling at you for something, it seems like. He was upset, angry about something, and you never know. My other favorite gentleman that lived down there was Carl Worth. He used to drive his tractor up to the fire hall, have 10 or 12, have 15 or 20 or 30.
Went to Roberts, didn't he?
Well, he went to the bar there at the used to be the old fire hall.
Yeah, but I think we went across the road.
He may have. Yeah. But he would get tanked up, and then he'd come out and get on his tractor and put it in gear and pop all the way home. We fixed him, we jacked the damn thing up one night and left him sitting in the parking lot, the wheels just pop. He was going.
You still live around here?
Yes, I live in Ransom, Kentucky.
Oh.
Where men are men and sheep are nervous.
Okay.
No, I bought a house in 1989. I worked for a strange thing. I graduated high school, got married. That didn't work out real well. I wound up going into service, and while in the service, instead of being just a ground pounder, I became airborne unassigned, which means I was going to jump out of a perfectly good airplane that will land someplace. Sooner or later, it's going to come down. But anyway, I went to jump school, and I got hurt. And they said, well, you're 6 weeks. You'll be tied up for 6 weeks. So we'll recycle you. Well, recycle is a word when you're a basic trainee you do not want to hear, because that's bad stuff. So I said, isn't there anything else? Well, there's a cook school that's opening up next week, and then the week after that, there's field wire infantry. And I told the NCO at the charge, I said, look, between you and me, I can't boil water without burning me and the pan that it's in. So therefore, what's this field wire infantry? Well, he says, you still wear the blue, you're infantry, your job is to run communication lines from wherever they put you, whether it's in the swamps or in the jungle or wherever, you run communication lines and make sure they reach on both ends and keep them working. I'll do that. So that took me out of it, and I went to a couple schools for it. I went to Southeast Asia, and I come back as nuts as I am now, maybe a little bit more so. But anyway, we did what I had to do, and I'm here now. A lot of my friends are here, and some of them are not. And after I got back home in July of '69, I went back to work at International Paper Mill on Tonawanda Island. Then I went to Harrison Radiator. I hated Harrison because you're inside, and I was locked up. I mean, artificial everything. Artificial air even, I think. And when the whistle blew, the machine went. And if you weren't there, somebody come down and say, where were you? And when the whistle blew, the machine stopped. Well, one night a guy from the telephone company come in and was collecting coins, and I says, how do you get a job at the phone company? He says, what do you know about telecommunications? I says, well, I know a little bit. So he gave me a card with a gentleman's name on it, Otto Kermeyer. He says, go up and talk to this guy, 65 Franklin. So I went up and talked to Otto Kermeyer at 65 Franklin. And roundabout story, after 3 or 4 no's, I went home and told the wife at the time, I says, I hate Harrison Radiator with a passion. I'm not going to work inside there. I'll shovel stuff before I work inside it. I've been outside in the bushes for 3 years. So I got hired by the phone company. Long and the short is I spent 33 years climbing telephone poles, working in manholes, working in buried pits, all over the place. I was like dog droppings all over the place. And I became a maintenance technician. And that's how I got to the point that I'm at, I guess.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
That's interesting.
Are there questions in the, yes, dear?
Can I ask you, you're talking Mr. Gearing, then across the street is Carlson, across town.
Yeah.
What's across from him?
Across from Carlson's was on, Gehring was on one corner, Carlson's were on the other corner. Across to the south was a Tierney, and across the street from him was a family called Schaefer's. Now, I don't know if the Schaefers were renting from the family downstairs or what, and then there was a hot-looking blonde the next house over called Buckholz. I didn't say
What about Zeems?
Zeems?
They live right
They were that was the family downstairs from the Schaefers.
Yeah,
That was the Zeems.
They owned the house.
They owned the house. The Zeems owned the house. Yep. That was your sister?
Right, that is her.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff I don't remember. Certain things I do remember, as we chatted about it before, and things that my sister has said, and it brought back jarred memories and stuff.
They probably couldn't write.
And, when I come home from, yes, sir.
Any memories of different things coming by the house on occasion? Did the fire trucks, other different things like that? What were your thoughts going through your mind as to who people were that were coming by the house, or was anybody stopping occasionally to tell you a little bit about what it was you were living in?
The fire trucks, when the fire trucks were running, they were in a hurry to get someplace. They never really per se stopped at the house. We'd go down to the fire hall and see the firemen once in a while. And the Bergholz 4th of July field day, that was always fun.
Oh, that was cool.
But as far as the firemen themselves, I didn't know who they were. When I moved to Ransomville, I was still working full time, and because I was on 24-hour call, I never got involved with the fire hall in Ransomville. But today, I kind of think, well, maybe I missed something. Don't know what it is, but something. But I did get a chance to ride in a big fire truck last December from St. Johnsburg over to here. They blew the sirens and the whistles and everything. That's when I had my red suit on, for those of you who don't know. And if they invite me back, which I got a feeling they may invite me back this year, I'll come back and play Santa Claus again for the kids. I love it. It gets me in the spirit of Christmas as well as doing something that makes the kids smile. Except the little ones.
Larry?
Thank you.
Were you
Yes.
ever at Carl Werth's house?
Was I ever at Carl Werth's house? Yes.
Down that long lane?
Down that long lane?
Long
Yes,
lane,
yes.
yeah.
I think we got tomatoes or something. We went down there and his
His mother was so
mother was a very nice lady. I
Yeah,
was going to
she
say his
was.
mother
I remember
was.
her, I was just very little. when my mom-
Yep, tiny, small frame. Yep, very nice lady. Sicari's were always down at the end of the street. Millville's had the big dairy farm on the other side. Johnny Wiegand, or the Wiegand family, had the first house because there wasn't a house on the corner of Whirl or whatever that first street is right there.
Binkley,
What?
Binkley.
Binkley? Okay. There was a house or two, and then there was a gentleman called Butch Collins who sold his dad's car and went it for rides. Took it out for joyrides. Dad marked the tire, so he knew he stole his car. Oh yeah.
He's still around.
I know, I saw him. We had a multi-age group reunion in Gratwick Park this summer, and he was there. And I was talking with him and a few of the guys.
Did you connect to Rich Carlson? He was there, I think.
I don't.
He might have been younger than you.
They had, like I said, there was like 7 age groups of people there. So the wrestling team started at Niagara Wheatfield under Coach Cacciatore. And when we started out, we wrestled in our gym shorts, no shirts, because that's what we had, and athletic supporters. I mean, we had to, you know. But anyway, then we took and dyed white long johns, so we had black leggings to wear, because the NFL, the Niagara Frontier League, said you had to wear the wrestling tights. Wrestling tights, you dye something black and you got wrestling tights. So we wore our black wrestling tights and our black shorts. And then they come out with these onesies these guys are wearing today. I look at this stuff and it's amazing. Special shoes, special headgear, special. We didn't have none of that stuff. So, well, if there's any more questions, I'm going to hang around for a little bit. I got no place to go and all day to get there. So,
Thank you. Please have a seat.
thank you. Thank you, Lucy, for inviting me. And next time you want an ice cream, I'll buy it.
So here's a copy of something that John Melville brought tonight. This was from 1977, March.
That was in my mother's.
It was dug out of my grandma Franny Volker's
Saw that. Scrap.
scrapbook that was turned into a suitcase full of stuff, so. Went through it recently and dug out the Das Haus museum type things.
So this guy is Gerhard Schultz?
Yes.
I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
not a relation to me.
Wardrobe.
Wardrobe? Oh,
It was
okay.
Sophie's,
Sophie is
yeah, Sophie's husband.
Well, here's Sophie on the couch.
on the top, yeah.
Elder.
That's our fainting couch.
Yeah.
That's in
So
Das
that's
Haus.
inside Das Haus. So we can pass this around. Be careful with it. Sort of fragile. Well, maybe we ought to leave it here.
Yes.
Just leave it on the table, yeah. Okay, who else has some memories from?
Does anybody remember, I don't think it was Carl, I was